2026, and you're listening to the Tech Addicts Podcast. Brace yourself. This week, are Motorola pairing up with Graphene OS? There's a £1,700 Audio-Technica turntable Ted fancies, Google cracking down on back button hacking, and could LinkedIn be illegally searching your computer? Something is amiss. Welcome to the Tech Addicts Podcast. Yet another week, yet another Tech Addicts Podcast. How exciting is that, folks? Well, as you could guess, I am joined by Mr. Ted Salmon, my co-host, and I'm Gareth, the host. How are you, Ted?
I'm hot.
Ooh, hot and sweaty.
It started. You know, summer's here. It's baking hot outside. All the tourists are down and making a noise and shouting at each other and having their dogs barking and blah, blah, blah. Moan, groan. Get used to it.
It is possible that dog barking might have been mine because it's currently barking out the back. But I apologise to everyone in Wales for the bark.
Yeah. Is it hot there as well?
It is quite warm, yeah. But it's lovely. Although the clouds have suddenly come in. I've been up since about 8 o'clock this morning, and it was a lovely morning. But yeah, I hadn't noticed the clouds rolling in, so there they are.
Oh, good. Lucky you.
They're on their way over to you, so you should have a nice cloudy afternoon.
Hurrah!
Yes. All right. Well, coming up on the show this week, Motorola has announced a partnership with the Graphene OS for future privacy-focused smartphones.
Vitalink are launching a foldable 13-inch screen and keyboard in one device.
Audio-Technica's AT-LPA2 turntable has been reviewed. It's stylish, precise, and sonically capable.
Waveshare's Pocket Term 35, a $149 handheld Linux terminal built for developers, which we'll look at later.
And Google's targeting the back button hijackers just to improve your user experience on the internet.
And finally, LinkedIn's covert browser scanning and data harvesting naughtiness will consider that.
Yes, alongside some bargain basements, and I'm going to do a wee bit of a tour through my self-hosting later on, because I haven't done that in a while, and I'm quite excited about a few things that I've deployed recently.
And I shall tell you why I'm fighting with Google Photos again. But first, here's a man with 3 buttocks. That was a Python reference for anyone that doesn't know.
And a Python sound effect too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, starting off the news, we have Motorola, and they've officially confirmed that a long-term partnership with Graphene OS Foundation has occurred. There are plans to release a future smartphone with Graphene OS pre-installed to bring select Graphene OS features to Motorola devices. The partnership was announced in Barcelona at Mobile World Congress, and it's going to be a long-term collaboration, which sounds really positive. The future of Motorola devices will ship, or various future Motorola devices will ship with Graphene OS pre-installed, but no specific device has been confirmed and no release date just yet. The Graphene OS has particular security features that many will like, and with Google removing the ability to install apps, some people call that sideloading. It's not, it's just installing anything outside of the Play Store, so installing apps. It's got a lot of people's backs up, and there's no real options for people to move at the moment, but this is a home run for Motorola if they get this out in time for Google turning off the ability to install apps. Currently, Graphene OS is exclusively available on, of all devices, Google Pixel devices, as existing Motorola hardware does not meet the software's requirements, but that should hopefully soon change in order for that to happen. Ted, you have a bit of experience with Graphene OS, don't you?
No, I don't. Only by research. I have looked at it when I was tinkering with Ubuntu Touch, whatever it's called, Touch UI. No, what's it called? Ubuntu Touch. Ugh,
Yeah.
can't remember now. When I was tinkering with that and installing it on one of my Pixel devices, and also when I was tinkering with Sailfish again in relatively recent times, I did look at Graphene OS, and I was learning a bit about it and trying to find out what was what with it. And apparently, if users want to use Google services, they can, but it's wrapped up. It's got this. It's in a sandbox on the device. You install it, and then it's controlled from within the sandbox. A bit like what Apple do, I suppose, with their applications. Although I'm far from an expert on Apple, as you know. And Motorola coming in on this is quite interesting. Also, given that one of the base criteria for Graphene OS acceptance of devices is that the OEM involved has got to give long and prompt security updates. So the Google, if you're going to use Google patches, then they need to be updatable, not only long term. So Graphene OS are quoting 5 years as their idea of long term, but also they need to be doing it monthly, like Pixels do or have been doing. And not only are they going to do it monthly, but they've got to do it within 1 week of the monthly deadline. So they've got basically 5 weeks to do the updates each month. And if OEMs do not comply with that, they will not be able to have Graphene OS on any of their devices. Now, as we know, Motorola are really bad at updates, or they have been up to now, and so they're really going to have to get their finger out. The only example that I can think of where Motorola have not been bad at that has been with the ThinkPhone. The ThinkPhone, because of their hand-holding with Microsoft on the matter, they did roll out the updates really, really regularly, and certainly within a week of what Google were doing with Pixels. So, I suppose Motorola could do it. The other thing that popped up on my research was that, and I don't know if anyone else does this except Motorola and Graphene OS, is the scrambled keypad thing. So I thought Motorola was the only firm that did this, and it was a Motorola quirky thing. So if you've got a PIN number to access your device, you can switch this switch on Motorola devices where it scrambles the numbers. So if someone's looking at your screen to see where your greasy finger has been, it will keep changing it, because it won't be able to pick up your passcode PIN number from looking at your screen and working it out. And I happened to notice that in Graphene OS they've got the same thing, and I haven't seen that anywhere else on any other device, but maybe I've just not looked and not seen it. But yeah, interesting stuff, and I should be certainly, as a Motorola supporter and fan, I should be certainly interested to see what they do with this going forward. But yes, you're right. They have clearly stated that no existing device, not even my brand new Motorola Signature, will be capable of meeting the criteria.
Yeah. Well, it's an exciting a turn of events for a very small amount of people. And whenever you think about the general Android users out there, they are just happy enough using everything through Google Play and using all of the Google services, and wouldn't blink an eye at the idea of changing to something else, or would blink an eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
But whereas the likes of myself, I like the idea of de-Googling. I have tried in the past to get away from Google and to get away from Microsoft, and I think I've successfully gotten away from Microsoft, although... God damn it! I've ranted about this a few times. My wife's laptop has OneDrive on it again, and I don't know how, because I've shut it down, I've removed it, and I went down to use it the other day, and lo and behold, there was an email from Microsoft saying, "You've filled up your OneDrive allowance." And it's like, but it's not on. It's not there, but it is. And I didn't turn it on, and I can guarantee my wife didn't turn it on because she doesn't know how. Anyway,
I still don't get that, because I've totally successfully uninstalled OneDrive on two laptops and my main computer, and I never see it. It's really odd.
Yep. I think it's maybe the laptop itself maybe has some sort of switch or some sort of deal done with Microsoft to ensure that gets turned on every 6 months or something like that.
Right.
But it really frustrates me. And Graphene OS is a really attractive alternative to Android at the moment if you want to move away from the big companies having all of your data. But I just don't feel it's there yet. And it's not an easy operating system to test, because you have to go out and get a Pixel device in order to be able to play with it to find out whether or not you like it or not. But there's a lot of exciting things, and I've watched on YouTube as people play with it, and there's nice little things like profiles. Sounds fun, so you can actually jump into a profile if you want to use your phone and not be disturbed by social media. You can use a particular profile for that. And I know other operating systems have those sorts of things going on in them, anti-distraction technology, but it's just there. It's embedded right from the word go. You can have a work profile, a fun profile, and it's little things like that this focuses on to bring you the best experience.
And you can also, and you can also, talking about profiles, you can also sandbox the Google Play Store inside just one profile, so the rest of the phone won't see it.
Yeah. So where you might need to pay for something, you want Google Wallet on there, it can be in a particular profile, so you don't have to go without it, which is a beautiful way to do it. So yeah, we'll follow this as it goes. I don't know how it's going to affect other brands, where Motorola are going to be able to roll this out in Graphene OS, or a device with Graphene OS. Does that allow people to be able to try and shoehorn it on to the likes of Samsung devices? Because if it was to get onto a Samsung device, then that would really be market penetration for Graphene OS, because the amount of Samsung devices out there is a large amount. But yeah, what do you think about... I don't think we've really talked about it very much, the whole idea of Google removing the ability to install apps outside of Google Play. If Microsoft did that on Windows and forced you to use... I think they even joked or threatened it years ago, to use the Microsoft Marketplace to be able to install applications solely, people would go mad. But Google seemed to think that, yeah, this is all right, we can do this on our operating system. What do you think about that, Ted?
Well, I think that, to be honest, I'm not ready for this question, so I don't know the latest situation with side loading, but because it keeps changing.
Installing, it's not side loading, that's something else.
Yeah, because 1 minute Google are saying going hard line with it, and then the next minute they're kind of backtracking on it a bit, and I don't know what the latest position is, to be honest, but it all feels like they're trying to do an Apple, doesn't it? It feels like they're trying to just lock it all down and make sure that people have to go to the Play Store to get stuff. And if you want to do side loading from other Play Stores or other websites or whatever, they're just making it really difficult. Our developer friend Malcolm Bryant was talking about this because he develops apps, and some of them he can get on the Play Store, but the ones that are on his website, which are not allowed on the Play Store or whatever. I think he's struggling with to find out how exactly he's going to do it. If he's listening now, maybe he'll give us an update on where he is with that.
Well, the other app stores are the obvious choice, but they're the ones that are actually possibly going to go away. The likes of F-Droid and Aurora, and they all have big disclaimers whenever you're installing it now, going, yes, this is going to happen fairly soon, and we're going to require app writers to get a signature through, or whatever the terminology is, to get it through Google, because you're not going to be able to install anything that hasn't been signed by Google, which is frustrating, really frustrating, and it's one of the worst things that could happen to Apple, or to Android, which is the open operating system for people to use and play with and enjoy.
Apparently, they've got to the full restrictions are enforced by September 26th.
It's getting close.
Yeah.
And I can't see Motorola having a Graphene OS operating system phone hit a landing before then. That's going to be reliable.
No, but if you're sandboxing Google Play services, the Play Store inside one of the profiles, presumably that profile will then comply. I don't know. I'm just thinking on my feet.
Well, yeah, that's the way it should work. Yeah, and that would be nice for Google to roll out. But this is all about, was it the Epic Game Store win and things like that, where Google can't charge the 30% or whatever it is, and Apple do as well, to ensure that people, to ensure that they continually get their essential royalties for every purchase made using an Android or an iOS device. So this is their solution to that court ruling. But the partnership marks a significant expansion for Graphene OS beyond the Google Pixel devices, and it potentially bringing an advanced mobile privacy and security system to a much wider audience through Motorola's broader device lineup, and that's going to be good going forward, but it needs to happen quicker.
Hopefully they'll do it on cheap Motorola devices as well, and not just flagship devices. We've yet to see. But if you could pick up an E-series Motorola phone for 120 quid and just have it to see what's going on and play with it. But if you've got to pay for a £900 signature equivalent in the future, then not many people are going to do it anyway, are they?
No, that's right, yeah. And they're going to be really annoyed at Google having to change. Anyway, VitaLink is a foldable portable workstation that combines a full-sized keyboard with a 13-inch touchscreen display into a single CNC aluminium slab. And it's designed for on-the-go productivity, and it looks pretty sexy to boot. It's got a 13-inch 3840 by 1600 resolution, which is 2.4 by 1 ultra wide. It's got a PPI pixel. Oh, I forgot what that stands for. Pixel density of
pixels per inch.
That's the one. 289. It's 60 hertz screen, 10-point touch screen, and 100% sRGB color coverage. The keyboard is a scissor switch key. The keyboard features a scissor switch key with a 0.8 millimeter travel, wider than the typical spacing that you would get on a portable device, with 3 RGB backlight modes, which is kind of cool. The form factor folds into like a 20 millimeter flat slab, and the footprint of it is about 34 by 15 centimeters when opened up, and it fits on a plain tray, like the table that you have on the back of a back seat, and on minimal footprint on a coffee table and things like that. It's got 2 USB-C ports for video, data, and power delivery. It's got plug and play across Windows, Mac OS, Linux, iOS, and Android with no drivers required. What do you think of this, Ted? And do you know what price it's going to be?
£207.
No
I think
way.
I think that's the base model, yeah. But it is on Kickstarter on what's it
Kickstarter.
starter? That's the one, Kickstarter. So it's not, you can't just go to a shop and buy it. But yeah, the cheapest in on it is £207. Looks very much like a
Next dock.
neck stock, yeah. Which, yeah, it's just a really strange shape. It's really wide. It's a letterbox kind of thing. Presumably, it's ever so wide. It's really odd because if you were carrying this in a bag, you'd have to actually have quite a wide bag to put it into. I get that the height of it is different. It's small. It's only a few inches tall. But the width, I think, is just because you see they put a numeric keypad on the right hand side of the keyboard, and so it just makes it that much wider. I'm not sure if this wouldn't have been better being a little bit less wide, frankly. But I like the idea. I do my. Neck stock has given up the ghost. The battery went, and I had to ditch it. It wasn't viable to repair it. I did try and find out, and so that I haven't got a neck stock now. So this kind of thing might be something that, and I like the sound of the keyboard with the scissor action thingy. And it looks like it's quite a good quality product, doesn't it? But I'd like to be able to buy it in a shop.
Yeah, it is the screen. That resolution is a bit bizarre. And especially whenever you think about how difficult it can be to use a device that's plugged in. I use DeX quite a bit now, and I find it a bit fiddly, especially whenever you plug it into a monitor that's big widescreen and it stretches stuff. Even looking down the Kickstarter campaign, there is a video GIF actually of them plugging it into an iPad, and you can very simply see at the last frame of that video is where it pops up on the screen of this device, and it looks badly warped. All the thumbnails are quite badly stretched and squished, so plugging an iPad in isn't really an option for you. And why would you plug an iPad in? It's got a bigger screen, a bigger, better screen. Weird. So it's a strange thing, and I don't know that people are going to rush out and grab it because they will be wanting a more traditional resolution on there.
Yeah. Or rather a more traditional ratio of screen. I don't know, but this is not the first device of this kind of style. Our friend Jim Fowle has got one of these, not this particular one, but very similar. And he uses it a lot and thinks it's great. Like you said, I'm sitting on public transport. It's dinky and. I don't know. Game playing on it, you see, with that wide screen might actually work quite well. Don't know. But it's nice and cheap.
Yeah, you could maybe watch a classic 1970s western on here without the black bars.
Yeah.
Something that's shot in 60 mil or something.
Yeah.
70 mil. 60 mil.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Well, you would. But the one thing that you're also going to like is What Hi-Fi has reviewed the Audio-Technica AT-LPA2.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a premium belt drive turntable, and they praise it for as a clear, lively sound, elegant acrylic design, and user-friendly setup through it. Though it faces stiff competition at this price point. Ted, why are you excited about this hunk of plastic?
Just because it looks gorgeous. No other reason really. I mean, I've got. I used to have an Audio-Technica turntable, but I'm now into project turntables, which are lovely as well. But the only thing that I would criticise about this, and apparently the acrylic has got its own qualities that help for audio files with dampening built into the actual material, which means technically it should be more stable and less likely to, cause any difficulties with the vinyl itself. But the only thing that I would criticise about this, two things. First thing is that it hasn't got a phono stage built in, which means you've got to plug it into a system or buy a preamp or some other way between your speakers and actually being able to hear anything out of this thing. There's no Bluetooth, there's just nothing. This is a totally unconnected device. And secondly, I come to my third point, which is that it's belt driven, and I used to have a Project belt driven turntable, exactly the same as this one in terms of principle. And on the back left corner, you've got this little spindle, and you put this rubber belt round that, and then right round the perimeter of the turntable, and it drives it by that method. I one time the belt actually broke, and I had to send back off to Project to get a new belt, which they supplied free of charge. It was no problem. But it just seems like a flaky system to me. It's not so much better if you have a proper drive, I think, underneath the platter, and it's driving it directly, as in direct drive. But what's important about this is the whole acrylic thing. It just looks, even if you don't use it, you can just have it on the side and it looks lovely.
It does. It's a very nice looking turntable. And I was having a quick read at the what you were talking about, the aesthetics of the acrylic plinth, they call it. And it's got vibration dampening, and it's supported by height adjustable feet, which I think height adjustable feet is kind of unusual. I don't like the idea of height adjustable feet, because you've got to get it absolutely right. You can't have it, one being slightly off.
Yeah, but then people's situations are not always flat either. So if you don't have height adjustable feet, okay, your cabinet might be a wonky angle, and then you can adjust it, a bit like a fridge,
Yes, no, you're right. Yes, my fridge does wobble
Yeah.
because I tried to adjust the feet. Yeah, and you can never get it right, never. And my bottles of beer roll to the left. Weird. Anyway, moving on to the next exciting thing, and this is Waveshare's Pocket Term 35. This is a compact, ready-to-use handheld computer powered by Raspberry Pi 4B or the Raspberry Pi 5, depending on what you need. It's designed for developers and needed for portable Linux terminals without a bulky laptop going with you. It looks pretty cool too. It actually reminds me of some of those kind of I forgot what they're called now. Gaming handhelds from Ambernick or something like that, but with a full QWERTY keyboard and a load of, it's got a Raspberry Pi interface sticking out the side, which is useful. It's a compact design with CNC machined aluminium front, and a 3.5 inch 640 by 480 IPS touchscreen, optimized for text clarity. It includes a 67 key QWERTY silicone keyboard managed by a dedicated RP2040 microcontroller to offload input tasks from the main processor, which sounds useful. It features a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, so that's pretty beefy, with UPS support for seamless power switching, plus 4 USB-A ports, Ethernet, audio jack, and I2C expansion for hardware add-ons, which means you could plug in a graphics card?
Oh, is that what it is?
Maybe someone could correct me if I'm wrong about it, but I can't remember what an I2C is, but I think that's allows you to do that. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's going to ship with a preloaded OS on the microSD, which will probably be Raspberry Pi, Pi OS. No, Raspberry. I can't remember now. Oh, I did. I had it the other day. The Pi 5 costs around about $148, and the Pi 4B will cost $180, which is slightly more. So the Pi 4B is better than the Pi 5. Is that right?
It's got a it's got a more advanced chipset, hasn't it?
Okay, fair enough. What do you think of these? They're kind of interesting little devices.
Well, if you were a developer, I suppose, and you were on the move and you didn't want to be tied to your computer to do your developing, and take it round to show people, I suppose, and what have you, it could be very, very useful indeed. What I'm drawn to about it is the QWERTY keyboard, because the device is not that huge, but they've been smart with the keys. They've spaced them out. You see, unlike those dreadful Unihertz Titan devices and BlackBerry devices and that dreadful Clicks keyboard thingy, which you add onto phones, all the keys are all mushed up together, and so when I try and use the keyboard, my fingers just basically crunch them, and they're too close. These ones have been spaced out. They might have been made a little bit smaller in the process because they're spaced out, but I think that they look much, much more usable. And they look like they're rubberized on the aluminium surface and slightly domed, and they just look really classy keys. The kind of keys you expect to see on a Canon camera, for example. There's some really, really nicely finished products in there. And of course you've got the microSD card on the side, so you can, I mean, anything you could do with a Raspberry Pi, you could do with this. The speakers on the back are probably not very good, but you can't have everything in a tiny little device like this. And there is a 3.5mm headphone jack, as I think you might have said, and it just looks like it's a nice little bundle, and really not that expensive for someone who is likely to use Raspberry Pi type, Linux type kind of stuff and work with it, and it could be fun. Yeah, absolutely.
I was squeaking around there because I was looking for my Dynamo labeler. I was thinking, ooh, this does look about the same size as that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got a full QWERTY keyboard on the front of it, but it is not the same kind of keyboard. But it's still a comfortable size to use. It's bigger than maybe a BlackBerry or something like that. So, yeah, you could spend a good amount of time with it. And, people are going to do a lot of stuff on these. They're going to have retro emulators. That's what I'm straight away thinking of. Commodore 64 or Spectrum running on this, or maybe even a Commodore Amiga, but then you'd need a mouse. You got a touch screen. Yeah, there's lots of fun stuff that could be done, and you'd look really nerdy on the bus.
Yeah, good fun. But it just needs a phone interface as well, and also the option to run Android. Ha.
Yes. All right, serious mode, because we've got serious topics to talk about here. Google is going to penalise websites that hijack the back button by downranking them in search results, treating it as a malicious practice under spam policies, probably unless they pay them for featured ads or something like that, in which case that'll be allowed. I'm interested to see what happens there. Yeah. But yes, we've all been on those websites where you're on the wrong website, you go to hit the back button and you can't move, and it doesn't take you back to where you were beforehand, and that's a real pain in the arse. Thankfully, most browsers have whenever you hold down your back button, you'll get a list of various pages that you've been on prior to that, so you can go that way and it'll sort of override the back button hijacking thing. But it's good if Google's going to take advantage of this and try to do something about it. You know this tactic, Ted?
I do, very well indeed. I see it on a daily basis. What Hi-Fi are a dreadful user of this. And not only does it hijack your back button, but it also, when you move your mouse up to go to the back button, it throws in a full-size advert for you to negotiate first. Sometimes you have to hit the back button twice to get away from it. And yes, the websites that I visit on my Windows computer, without the kind of blocking stuff that you've got set up at your situation, I see this regularly, and this will be great.
Yes, it will. If it works, I'm sure those websites will find some other way of doing it. A wasp has just flown in.
Oh, blimey.
The skylight is open a smidgen, a tiny amount, and
yeah.
it's
I told you summer was here. Summer is a bummer.
It is, absolutely. Well, while I'm dealing with this, I'll lead you in. You can tell us about how LinkedIn is secretly scanning users' computers for installed software and collecting sensitive data without consent, and then transmitting it to third parties, including cybersecurity firms, in what is described as a large-scale corporate espionage operation. Sounds exciting, doesn't it, Ted? Tell us all about it.
I think you just did. There's nothing left to say. LinkedIn. I started using LinkedIn about a week or two ago for the first time in about 20 years, maybe. It probably is about 20 years, and I'd completely forgotten that it's a Microsoft-owned thing. And I was kind of half talked into it by Joe, my co-host on PSC, because he has a presence.
Always blame Joe.
He has a presence on LinkedIn, and he said it's really useful for being connected with people who let him have phones for review, and like in his case, Motorola and Honor. And sure enough, when I went in there, companies like that and their officials, their staff, are actually very active in there, and they're connecting with people. It is really, really business-like feeling. This is not a social network, although I did connect with someone who's in our group called David West, who uses it to just post his photographs on. So he kind of uses it as a social network, but I think most people, it's about job searches and about recruitment and about just business stuff, and clearly from what I see here, if this is true, then the personal data being collected by presumably Microsoft in this case, I can't imagine what they would want to do with this except to feed it to the security services, perhaps in America. For example, it scans stuff like religious beliefs, political opinions, disabilities, the job search activity, stuff like if you're a practicing Muslim, so there's a big flag for American security services, no doubt. Political orientation, and etc., etc. So it feels like it's an Americanized kind of way of getting data from users online in social media to just check their background, and then no doubt swoop in the middle of the night and deal with them if they think that they're going to be making a bomb or something. It just has that kind of feel of American security about it, and that Microsoft are in cahoots by, I don't know, this could be really, really off the wall, and it may be totally unfair, but it feels like that it's big brotherish in that kind of way. Is that how it came across to you?
It does, yeah. And if it is right, then it's a practice that constitutes a massive data breach, and it's a potential criminal offence, with LinkedIn engaging in corporate espionage and violating user policy on a global scale. If anything, it's mad to think that this could actually happen or occur, but yeah, we'll stick close to this as well because it could be They could make a movie out of this as well, starring Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman, couldn't they?
Have you got a LinkedIn account? Do you use it?
I did have. I don't think I do anymore. I haven't used it in years.
But that's what I thought. And when I went back, it was still there, sitting there, even though I thought I'd ditched it decades ago. But no.
No, I'm pretty sure I shut it down when I was leaving because I was just getting so hacked off. I didn't see the point in it. I know in America it's used an awful lot, and I have relatives who use it first and foremost because they're very much into the companies they work for, and who's this and who's that, and communicating with other companies and finding jobs and stuff to move to. But over here, it felt like a kind of more professional social network that we just didn't quite take too seriously. I'm pretty sure my wife's on it, but no, I shut mine down. I'm relatively sure. Yeah, I never liked it either. It felt too much like if you want to get a job, you're gonna have to pay them for them to be able to get it for you. You know what I mean?
It also feels like most stuff with Microsoft, very business-like and not consumer-like, which is just really annoying with Microsoft, I find.
Yeah. Up yours, Microsoft. Right. Okay. Well, we'll move into
but I did like Bill Gates. He was a nice bloke.
Really?
Yeah. He came round to tea one day, and we had crumpets.
You don't follow the news at all, then?
No.
No. Okay.
I do not.
Slip you anything in your tea?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right. Well, we'll move on from that because that gets scary quickly. I did a thing, and this is the thing that I did was I self-host. I'm really chuffed with my self-hosting. I have two, well, I call them servers, but one of them kind of is. It's a NAS, but whenever I bought it, I started getting into self-hosting and enjoying the idea of doing everything and having it all running there. And I started to expand more and more and realised that my poor little Synology NAS was really struggling over the amount of stuff that I was shoehorning onto it. So I went and bought myself a little mini PC that is sitting beside me, and it runs all kinds of different services. And I thought I'd just take a little wander through because I've recently expanded some of the things that I use it for, and I thought I'd highlight some of the services, or in fact most of them. I'll tell you what I'm running and why I'm running them. So I've got my front end in front of me. On my little mini PC I use Zima OS, which is it's a small operating system that is designed to do what I'm doing, and you can run it on an NAS, you can run it on all sorts of little bits of software, and it's very friendly and easy to use operating system. I'm not competent of my skills to be able to run some of the bigger ones like TrueNAS or Proxmox or any of those sorts of things, I've forgotten what it's called. Starts with a U. There's another one as well. Some of them cost money. Zima is free for most of it. You can pay them, and I did pay them quite recently just because I'm getting everything I need out of it right now. So the first thing I run is Fresh RSS, which is my own little RSS reader. So it brings in all my RSS feeds, and I'm able to read the news as I want to, and I use that in conjunction with my tablet and phone with Cappy Reader, which is it's got a little picture of a capybara, and it's a really simple, fast, feature-filled RSS reader, and it all comes down from my Fresh RSS, and they communicate with each other. So whenever it's read on one, it's read on the other, and I can save stuff and highlight stuff and put stuff aside for talking about on podcasts and things like that, and reviewing on my website. So that's one of my favourite applications, and I really enjoy it. Home Assistant, which manages all of my smart devices around the house, because there's nothing worse than having a whole rake of different smart devices that all require different applications and having to remember oh, that lamp over there, if I want to schedule it to do this or turn on at 10 o'clock tonight because we're out, which plug is it on? Home Assistant, go in, do that way. Dead easy. Everything's in there. I think there's one thing that isn't, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, my Reolink cameras. That's not in Home Assistant. Haven't done that yet. Open Speed Test is it's a speed tester that I have installed on everything, really, so I can test the speeds of my network within my network. So I can test the speed of my NAS from my computer, and how quickly they're communicating with each other in case there's some bottlenecks or something going on somewhere. Then I have a suite of R's. I'm going to be honest with this. Prowler, Radar, Sonar, LiDAR, and SAB, NZB, all connected together and working nice. Qubit torrent is there as well, which is always useful. But I discovered one thing that I installed the other day that prompted me to do this is one called Qui, Q-U-I, which is a dashboard for Qubit torrent, and it's really nice. It's if you torrent it all, the interface on the web UI aspect of Qubit torrent is really, really clunky and quite dated. And then Qi, which is made by the people who made AutoBRR or AutoBur, is really nice and slick. It's got loads of nice features and things like that. So it's worth checking out if you are into that. Pinch Flat is a really handy utility where if you're watching a video on YouTube or you want to retain a video from YouTube, you can add it to a particular watch list. I have one called Great Films because YouTube has lots and lots of movies on it, and it's a great resource for finding old movies that maybe haven't been released on DVD in a long time, or you might be able to find a copy of a particular old Italian film that has a nice English dub or something that you just want. I'd like that. I'd maybe like to take the dub off that and put it onto a version that I have on my library, my media library. But Pinch Flat does that for me, where it monitors a watch list on YouTube, and if I stick something on there, it'll go grab it, download it, and put it in a particular folder on my NAS, so I don't lose it. Or if I have little libraries and things of how I do stuff, how I set things up, so that I don't have to go and try and find the video again or have a look through other lists. I can just have it all stored there because you might need it one day. Portainer, use that to handle a lot of my Docker installs. Comga, Komga, is a library tool for ebooks, comics, and magazines. I'm not a big comic book person. I have a couple, but it's more for magazines, where I keep all my issues of Amstrad Action or PC Zone or PC Format and classic magazines in there, and it works with another application that they recommend called Commalinga or something like that on the Android tablet, and I can sit and read magazines on the train. I can sync stuff up and down, dead easy. JDownloader 2 is a download manager that is absolutely brilliant, really powerful, and it links into all your browsers and your mobile phone and things like that. And if you find something you want to download, you can on your phone you can send it to JDownloader and it'll just download to your NAS, and you can get to it whenever you get home. Really good, very, very powerful, and it can basically rip anything out of a website. It's great. Gotify, which I've thought about replacing this recently with a slightly newer version of this, but this is like a notification center that hooks into applications and anything on my Docker, and whenever it does something, it can send me a notification, like there now, to say that something has downloaded or something has achieved what I was looking to do. If I rip a DVD, I might throw it into a thing called TDAR on my computer to compress it and turn it into H.265 and make it better for streaming. And it can notify me whenever that's done, if I'm doing a large library or something like that. So it's very useful. Tailscale is remote access. It's a very very simple to use ring fence that keeps all of your services inside this special encrypted, secure access container, and it allows your, say, your phone, your tablet, your computer, your NAS, all that to communicate without having to go through all the security holes. And it's nicely done. You can run it with a VPN as well, provided by Moldad for extra security. It hammers privacy very well. It's a great useful remote access tool to keep your network safe and secure and in a small little bubble. Dozzle allows you to watch your Docker monitor all your Docker instances and things like that. Tugtainer, Ted, don't get too excited about this. It's not what you think. Tugtainer allows you to, it's something I just installed the other day and I'm really chuffed with it. It allows you to monitor your Docker installs and see if there's any updates or anything like that. I don't think I'm using it to the nth degree, but from what I see so far, I'm able just to click a button and it'll update various things and tell you whenever things go down, or the health of it isn't great and it needs your attention, and then you can link it up to Godify and it'll tell you, oh, such and such isn't operating properly, and you can run to your operating, or to ZimOS, and find out what the problem is. Link Warden is something I installed a couple of days ago, and this is what excited me was using Link Warden. It's a bookmark manager tool, and it allows you to have a really nice interface to manage all your bookmarks and put them into folders and things like that, and have read it laters and all sorts of things. It's a really cool piece of software, because I use Brave, and I get a bit scared about going into my bookmarks now because they're really messy, and it's like, oh, I'll put that there, and I lose it and forget about it, and there's stuff dating back to like 2021 that I've bookmarked and never accessed since. So Link Warden allows me to be able to easily sort all of that out in a very friendly and useful way. Good stuff. There's Cloudflare, there's Auto BRR, and then there's Image, which I have chimed on about in the past, which is a great Google Photos alternative that I very much recommend to anyone who wants to store their photos locally and want that Google Photos or iCloud Photos interface. Audio Bookshelf allows me to keep all my audiobooks together, where I bought something on Audible, grabbed it, pulled it out, put it in there, gives you a web interface that allows you to download them to your phone and use on the way. Dead handy. Blinko. I've been using Obsidian, which is a note-taking tool, but it's really overkill for all the notes that I do, and it's actually really complicated. So I'm looking for something just a bit simpler, and Blinko seems to be doing it. What's his name? The guy, Leo, on YouTube. I can't remember his name. He recommended it. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's been running Blinko, so I went and did it too, and it's really cool. Sync Thing allows me to sync. It's a bit like Sync Toy, Ted. It allows me to sync things across my network, so if I put some images in one folder, they'll appear magically on another device in another folder really quickly. Dead simple to do. Bit of a learning curve for you to understand how it actually works when you're setting it up, especially whenever it comes to Linux and using the gaining access and things like that to various folders and things like that. It can be a bit cumbersome, and it took me a while and a number of bad mistakes to get things working the way they are now, but I persevered with it and got it. And then finally, Paperless, which is a file or an electronic file document storage thing. So if you get a letter from your gas company, you can, or a PDF, you can turn it into a PDF, or if they send you an email with a PDF, you can just throw it into this and it'll retain it. It's got a bit of AI built into it, so it reads the page and works out what it is and tags it so you can find stuff. And it really helps me keep track of household bills, keep track of my car information, and even just family letters and things like that. I can just put everything up there, go in and do a quick search, and I can find stuff. It's really, really handy. Yeah. Any of that sound interesting to you, Ted, or are you just sitting back and going, oh, what is he waffling on about?
I don't pretend to understand any of it, but what's interesting is the depth of the community out there, which are supporting these kind of ventures and making it all happen. And if you're not a Linux user, you just wouldn't know most of what you just said. And also we were talking earlier about ditching Google, and this suite of tools you've got on hand here. I'm actually quite amazed that you've still got an Android mainstream phone, to be honest, because this suite of tools you've got, you can so easily. I mean, it may not be so convenient in some ways to ditch Google, but there's so much stuff out there that you could easily, have a good go at doing it. Which is, I suppose, where Graphene OS comes in and say, look, we'll build a bridge for you here, so you can dip your toe into all this complicated Linux stuff, but actually we'll make it pay off in the end, because we'll give you the tools to make it happen. And all of those things that you just mentioned, all those bits of software and apps and what have you, I've never heard of, the only ones I've heard of are the ones that you have spoken about on the show before. I had no idea. It's like stepping back to 1995, and when people were dabbling around with DOS and early Windows, and actually all of this stuff was in development in a big way before the big boys got hold of modern Windows and the app stores and all the rest of it. And there's this whole back end of really interesting and innovative stuff going on, which I need to have a look at some point and try.
Well, yeah, it spurred on because of the prices attached to things. I really initially got into self-hosting because of Todoist, and I wanted an alternative to Todoist, because I didn't see the point in. I don't know why there isn't a really simple. Well, I suppose there is now, but at the time there wasn't a really simple. It wasn't Todoist, it was Pushbullet. That's what it was, Pushbullet. I really liked Pushbullet, being able to send
I know
links from my phone to my computer, so I can read it later at home. And that became difficult. And bookmarks weren't useful, weren't something that you really wanted to do, because you lose them, you forget about them, and you don't care about them in the end. But looking for an alternative to that led me down the self-hosting thing, because I wasn't willing to pay Pushbullet for that. And then I moved to Todoist and thought I could do it through Todoist. To do this is to read this later. And then they wanted money for slightly advanced feature set. And then Google wanting money for Google Photos and things. It's like, well, why would I spend money on that whenever you can self-host and get it for free? And every day they just keep getting better and closer, and there's actually so many alternatives now, where I decide I would like this service to self-host, and have to try and work out which service I want to go with, because there's a bit of work in setting it up from the start. I left out a couple of things that I'm using, because I'm looking at Dozzle now and Tugtainer for handling my Docker installs, but there's a couple of other ones that I've used over the years, and they're there as well, because I don't want to get rid of them in case I decide to go back, or something comes along like Huntar was a really useful piece of software that you could self-host, and where you had maybe a TV series that was missing some episodes, it would go out and try and find those episodes for you, and would track them down. It would hunt them down, but the guy who wrote it decided to breach everyone's security and report back stuff that it shouldn't be reporting. So it was quickly pulled and removed. So that's gone, and now people are looking for alternatives for that, because that is something that people want. So these things can happen, and you've got to be careful. And before you know it, something could be hacked, or someone decides, I'm not making any money out of this. I'm tired of not making any money, or maybe I do want to make some money out of this. So they try and get some information out of people. But most of these are written by good, reliable people who really believe in the cause, and they want to do something like this because they are hosting self-hosted stuff. They don't want to have to pay Google and Microsoft for all these great pieces of software that they have available. Yeah, if some people.
I don't understand.
Shh. Google chiming in there. Yeah, if you've got the know-how, you may as well. If you've got a bit of hardware lying around, you should give it a go and see if you can get one thing running, and then whenever you get that running, you realise that wasn't actually as hard as I thought, and it gets easier and easier. And then you can start replacing things that you're paying for and saving money and being able to pay for fuel.
And then you get a power cut.
Well, a power cut's still going to affect Microsoft and Google.
Not if you've got a battery that is in your device and you can still connect to the network, and all the stuff that is held on other people's servers like Google's, you can still get to it. Whereas if all your stuff is on your computer at home and you've got no power, well, unless you've got a generator of some sort that kicks in when the power goes.
Well, the solar panels will hopefully be installed at the end of the summer.
Excellent. Anyway, I'm not really poo-pooing it. Good for you. It sounds really complicated, but really interesting as well.
Yeah, it is. Whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to be talking about?
I've just got a quick one ready, which is me fighting Google Photos. I was using my Sony Xperia phone this week, which has got a microSD card slot, and I noticed again that my 1 terabyte microSD card is stacked full of films rips and TV show rips and DVD rips and all sorts of loads and loads of data, and all of that data is showing up in Google Photos because it's on my card. So I went on a way in which to not have all that showing up in my, even though the toggles for backup in Google Photos are all off. So that's the first thing. No, I'm not saying do it. So what you get instead are thumbnails in your Google Photos for each and every one of those video files. And I started on this hunt of trying to get round it. And then what came up was this .no media solution, which involves you going into every single folder on your microSD card and creating this .no media file and sticking it in there, which tells the system not to look at that folder, which, okay, is fair enough. But then if you do that, then you also prevent the likes of VLC looking at it. So if you've got VLC or MX Player or whatever media player that you want to see that, they then can't, because the .no media file tells everything system-wide, don't look at this folder. So that's no good. The other thing to be aware of is that if you have your media inside the system folder on your card called DCIM, then it will bypass even a .no media file placed in the folders, because Google has an automatic route through the system to anything in the DCIM folder. So there's that as well. And what it boiled down to was that there are very few ways in which, and this might be why Google were not interested particularly in having microSD card support in their devices, because it just kind of complicates things. But even if you had it on your internal storage, Google Photos still wants to poke its oar in, and it's really, really annoying. And I haven't really found a way around it except to just turn off the memory card until you want to use it. That's one solution. So, right, unmount the card, but if you want to use it for some reason, then mount it again and let it go. But then you've got to be careful because it will automatically mount it every time you reboot the phone. You need to be aware of refreshing VLC or MXMe, any media playing applications you've got, and it just doesn't work. I think that whole micro SD card for media, if you've got lots of it, is just broken, and nobody, particularly Google, seem to be interested in making that work and stuffing full your Google Photos folder with all these thumbnails. It's not taking up huge amounts of storage because it's not actually you can't run the files, but it's a thumbnail and it's taking up all the space. Right, rant over.
No, I think that's an important one, yeah. And it's interesting that you highlight that maybe that's why Google is doing away with micro SD cards, yeah.
Trying to, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously Android TV would require an SD card for expanding storage and things like that, because generally TV boxes come with crap all, but it's a media-focused device, so it needs an SD card more than really your phone or anything else, because it's not going to live in the cloud.
Except you're less likely to have Google Photos installed on the TV. Well, you might have, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think people do. I have a thing for image installed on the TV, so I can go through my images as I please on my TV, which is very handy. But I'd like to think that Google have something similar for Google Photos.
I use Plex for that. So on my computer, I've got Plex Photos and a link to that library on my computer. And so if I did ever want to look at my photos on my TV, I just open the Plex app and it's all there.
Yeah. I think that's Plex have really upped their game whenever it comes to photos over the last couple of years, because it's never really been terribly good. I'd forgotten about Plex photos. Maybe have a look at it, but I don't need to because I've got Image and it's 10 times better.
Of course it is.
And it's already set up and working fine. All right, Bargain Basement. Let's dive in here and see what there is. We'll start with you, Ted.
This is a Bluetooth speaker, a little dinky one with a clip that is not made by JBL, but this unknown company called Jovi or Jovi. And the novelty here is, and I've spoken about this before because I got one of these for my brother-in-law for his birthday a couple of years ago. It's got a little drum pad on it as well. So when you're listening to your music, there's a little pad on the side of it, and you can tap your finger on it, and it makes a little drum sound, or a choice of drum set. Anyway, this has been reduced from 30 quid to 21.59, and my brother-in-law says it's absolutely fantastic and he has great fun with it and it's well worth it. It looks like it's built as well as the JBL ones. Nice design, nice finish, robust, and I think I'm right in saying it has got an IP rating, but I can't remember what it is. Oh yeah, 6.8. So that all worked really, and it's got that clip, the same as the JBL ones. Bargain. Don't pay JBL prices. Buy this one.
Does JBL do a drum pad thing as well?
No, not you. Don't get the drum pad, but
so
the
that's
JBL
indigenous to this device.
Yeah, well, you'd think so. I'm sure someone else out there in land China are doing it as well. But this is the clip is the JBL hook, because the JBL clip devices are the ones where they started doing this, clip to hang over things. But yeah, it's really nice. Good reports, and it reviews well.
Yeah, that's a really neat idea. I really like that. Yeah. I'll stick it in my basket. You never know. Right. Okay. Staying on sound footing. The Apple AirPods Pro 3 are on sale currently. They've been dropped in price from £219 down to £189. I thought that was worth mentioning in case people need a set of these if you're in the Apple ecosystem. Ted, you don't.
I do not. However, I did used to like AirPods when not these stuff down the ear canal ones, but the ones that sit on the edge. And I did think when I had my AirPods years ago, they were really really good and worked really well, and they were really nice, good sound. So much as I detest Apple, I think they were really good.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that later.
Motorola Edge 70 is next. It's reduced. I think I mentioned this before. Actually, it seems to be permanently reduced from the RRP of the absurd RRP of £699 to £499. This one is in bronze green, 512 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigs of RAM. And I have got one here from Moto PR, and I'm trying to muster up the energy to do a review on it. And we shall see where that goes. But yeah, don't pay full price for this because it seems to be permanently $499 at Amazon.
Okay. Another pair of headphones, and that's the Apple AirPods Max, which are on sale. They're down from $499 to $399 if you need a set of those. But for $399, that's a lot of money for these headphones when there might be better options elsewhere for less money.
Have you got shares in Apple all of a sudden?
No, it's just I noticed that these were on sale, and people do use Apple products a lot.
Do they?
They do.
Wow. Okay, Soundcore is next. Our lovely Anchor friends and Soundcore. This is the V40i open-ear earbuds, which I've not used, but they look very decent for what they are, and they are reduced from £80 to £30.
Wow.
£80 to 63% reduction. Now, whether that means that they can't sell them or not, I don't know. Whether it means I think I did have a pair that were not Soundcore ones, but were a similar design to these, and I've still got them somewhere. I think they were. No, I can't remember, but they worked really well, and it's a good sound. You just got to make sure you don't wear glasses, because those things that go around the back of your ear are a pain in the arse if you've got glasses on. Anyway. A 63% reduction, 80 to 30.
Yeah, they have been at that price once before for a little while at the start of March, so keep an eye. If it does seem to be running out, there's 11 hours left on this deal, but we will get the podcast out before then. But if you're listening to this tomorrow morning as opposed to yesterday morning, because where you are, it'll be yesterday morning where we are today, you might not get this deal. So 11 hours from now could be 13 hours in the minus if you're listening to this 24 hours from now. Yes. Useful. Very useful. Next up is a reason why you might not need to buy those Apple AirPod Maxes, because the Sony XM5 Special Editions, the XM5 SAs, with soft case, are down in price from £260 to £199. And I know that some people have their reservations about the XM5s. I don't know what the difference is between the special editions and the traditional versions, but £199 is a bargain price for the level of headphones that are here, considering that the XM6s are £329 at the moment, or they do frequently drop down to about that price. This is a good price reduction for the prior model. Ted, you have the XM4s, don't you? We had a discussion last week.
Yeah, I'm very happy with them. There's no problem with them. What I have a problem with, though, is why they are called the XM5 SA when they should be the XM5 SE, surely. And the only difference I can see between the non-special edition and the special edition is that you don't get a hard case. So the hard case that I got with mine, and if you normally get, they've replaced that with a soft bag, which is fine. I'm not got a problem with that. I never use my hard case, but if you're saving a few quid by doing that, but yeah, this sort of sounds. SA is not for South Africa, is it? Perhaps you can only buy them in South Africa. Oh no, you can buy them here.
Having a quick look, there's. The XM5s have no USB listening, whereas the SAs or SEs have USB listening. And there's no ingress protection rating on the XM5s, whereas there is, or there's no IP rating on the, I don't know. No, that's the XM6s. Hang on. No, never mind. Well,
Anyway, if you're going to buy those, look carefully.
yeah. And let us know what the difference is if you happen to have both of them.
Yeah.
If you're mad as that. Okay, so Ted, what's next?
The Honor Magic 8 Pro, 512GB, 12GB RAM. This has got a deal going on the Honor UK website. So, first of all, you get 200 quid off the RRP anyway. So it goes down from 900 quid to 700 quid. Plus, you get a free tablet, which is worth, I've no idea, probably 100 quid, and a charger, which is probably worth about 50 quid. So that is your £700, £600, 550 for a very, very capable Magic 8 Pro on a phone, which Joe, second mention here, Joe is it has got one in hand now and is reviewing for PSC over in our other podcasts. So, and there's also various bundles as well. The Honor UK website feels much like the Xiaomi one or the Poco stuff. That there's always some super deal going on and bundles, and it's worth keeping an eye on if you are interested in the Honor phones or tablets.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And it'll be interesting to hear what Joe says about it whenever he reviews it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. The last one we have is the Anker Solex C300 DC portable power station and power bank with 60-watt solar panels. This is a combo pack that's currently on Amazon, and I've had my eye on this for a while. It's normally £292, and it's dropped down to £245 and 65p. It's actually showing as currently unavailable now. It was there earlier. Ted, I don't know if that means it's just Northern Ireland has run out or what, but if you're showing as currently unavailable, then they must have sold out.
I've lost me back button altogether now. Solix 300. No, it's showing as available here.
Oh, right, okay, that's interesting. And it's £245.
It's coming. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 245.65, and it's coming directly from Anchor Direct.
Okay, all right. So you're getting the deal over there. They're just not available here. So yeah, this is a cute little a power station that you can use some portable solar panels to charge up and take with you if you're camping or those sorts of things. But a lot of people are actually, maybe the reason why they're sold out here is because a lot of people are buying these to, just take a little bit of the edge off their electricity bill in the house. And getting some bundled panels in there as well, which are 60-watt solar panels, that's pretty good, means that you can offload a wee bit of whatever you happen to be doing. If you're running a computer or something like that, or you're not going to be able to plug your tumble dryer into this, I wouldn't imagine, but there's all kinds of computations that you can make to see whether or not this is going to fit nicely into your home and be able to utilize the solar panels in such a way. Because I think this is very quickly becoming a necessity for people in their homes to try and cut down electricity and gas prices that are skyrocketing at the moment. Ted, would you have one of these?
I'm not interested in the solar particularly, but I do like the unit, and I like the light on the top that lifts up. Incidentally, if you click through the options here, you can buy just the device for 159 quid without the solar panel thingies. And that's been reduced. Is that? Let's see how. Sometimes that is down to 159 quid. But I do like the light on the top. You lift it up, and then when you don't want it on, you push it down again. Looks great. And it's also got 90,000 milliamp hour battery in it. 90,000. Yeah. So I've got 10 charges of your phone easily.
It's terrific, yeah, and you can plug it in and be able to power things from that directly in your house, and then plug the solar panels into it. So it's an ever-going process of power delivery for certain things, I like these, and I'm quite interested in maybe picking one up whenever they get them back into stock.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and that about brings us to the end of the show. If you want to get in touch with us, you can by emailing us, and there's Gareth at techaddicts.uk. You can also find us on Twitter. There's techaddictsuk. There's Gareth Miles, GarethMyles. I'm also on Mastodon and on Blue Sky as well, and I have my GarethMiles.com where I publish things, and I have a Ko-Fi or coffee if you fancy buying me a drink. And thanks for the last one, whoever did that. Someone did last week. It's very good.
Ooh,
Very kind of you.
Cool.
Ted, where can they find you?
They can find me at tedsalmon.com and on MeWe. tedsalmon.com has got all the links to all the MeWe groups and all the audio podcasts, blah, blah, blah. If you want to buy me a coffee instead of Gareth, then it's at paypal.me/tedsalmon. And I thank you very much for that. You're so kind and lovely people. And I shall be back next. Will we be back next week? Which season are we on? Oh yeah, last show. Another finale next week.
You can look forward to that because it's going to be disappointing, I'm sure. The Anchor Solex C800 is a good looking device. There's a box inside of it. You can store your lunch. Interesting. Right, okay. Catch us all next week. Take care now.
Bye.